In stories, we need something light, something to ease the pain, something to make us laugh. We go on a quest for that oh so funny tale. But why is it funny? What makes it work? What makes comedy comedic?
When watching a comedy, we may think that funny is just funny. There's no profound idea to it, and explaining the joke just takes all the fun out of the experience. Well, this video's here to tell you that that's not true. There are many theories and ideas to make comedians and comedies comedic, and understanding how they do it will make you appreciate the art much more. In this video, we'll look at the ridiculous and obscene world of prison school to understand comedy. Before we get into the wacky world of prison school, we must first understand the difference between being funny and writing comedy. Being funny is closer to a flash in a pan of funny. However, being a comedian or writing comedy is a practiced art. Someone on the latter end is likelier to get consistent laughs out of a crowd than someone just funny. One way comedians make people laugh is by being good storytellers. Just think back to when something funny happened and you wanted to join in on the laughs. One of the laughers explained, "Man, you just had to be there. It was just one of those things where if you were there, it was funny, or you have to wait for Jake to tell you." They must wait for the hypothetical Jake due to a lack of storytelling ability. When you capture an audience, you can get them to laugh and keep laughing. This brings us to prison school. The former all-girls school, Hachimitsu Academy, has become co-ed, and Kiyoshi, our main character, has enrolled. His friend Shingo joins him with Gakuro, Andre, and Joe. The boys make a plan to peep into the girls' locker room, but they get caught. Although locked up, the boys still want to enjoy their youth. This is the conflict, and conflict makes comedy. Comedy is not born out of trying to be funny. Comedy is born out of characters trying to win. To get out and enjoy their youth, the boys have to win. Steve Kaplan, an expert in comedy, explains that in a comedy, winning is the idea that you can do whatever you think you need to win. Comedy gives characters permission to win. The character trying to win is only limited by the character's personality and lack of skills. Even if it makes your character look ridiculous, they do what they can. They're not trying to be funny, just trying to get what they want. We'll use prison school as an example to get this idea across. In episode 3, our hero's goal is to download the sound of bowel movements so they can buy some more time for their great escape. But there's a problem. The school internet does not let Gakuro download his files, so he must find a way to win. We know that he cares about Kiyoshi, but how far would Gakuro go to win? With this being a comedy, Gakuro is allowed to win, so he does what only he would do and embarrasses himself in front of all the girls just to win. This scene is not funny since it's a crazy fart joke, and Gakuro wasn't trying to be funny. This scene is funny since it's based on our characters trying to achieve their goal. They're trying to do what they think makes them win. The scene works since we know what the characters want and what's at stake. The combination of breaking a taboo, dramatic music, and the students' reactions result in laughs. Just like how hypothetical Jake can make everyone laugh and get the people to say, "Oh man, that is so you, man." It doesn't stop there. Gakuro's plan worked, but he sacrificed his dignity. He left his brother in arms to complete the mission. However, their plan goes awry when the school principal patches up the hole the boys plan to escape from. Our main character and Gakuro fight since their likelihood of leaving the prison becomes less clear. But our hero has a plan. Pretend to be a girl to escape. To do this, he must steal one of the girls' uniforms when the cleaning service arrives. This plan leads us to episode 4. Gakuro has done the unthinkable and disgraced the president. He now must repent for his sins and cut his hair. But all of this was just part of Gakuro's plan. With his newly shaved head, Gakuro can give Kiyoshi a makeshift wig for his great escape. Now the day has arrived. Plan to steal clothes is set in motion. They must find a way to distract the worker long enough so Kiyoshi can sneak into the building and take the clothes. But there's a problem. Working in the most haste is the worker's objective, so the boys must find a way to distract the worker. Gakuro decides to taunt the worker by yelling random insults. Gakuro seems confident in his ploy, but he's withering thin on the inside. Our genius wets himself in fear. But the good news is, Kiyoshi secures the prize. Although this scene is ridiculous, it works on a comedic level. One theory of comedy suggests that our laughs are born out of a feeling of superiority. The superiority theory suggests our laughter comes from others' misfortune, which makes us feel superior. This can be seen in classic comedies like The Three Stooges or cartoons like Looney Tunes. The vice president continuously beats and punishes the boys throughout prison school, utilizing this aspect of comedy consistently. When we see Gakuro suffer, it's funny since we feel that we're better than him. Similar to kids in a classroom making fun of other students for getting a question wrong or misspeaking. However, this theory of comedy does not explain why other things seem funny to us. For example, Kiyoshi's newfound resolve after getting caught. Let's take a few steps back. Kiyoshi gets caught sneaking out of the school. He's questioned by his fellow inmates and his best friend Shingo. Due to Kiyoshi's plan, all the inmates' sentences have been extended for another month, and our main character may be expelled. His friends begin to hate him and think Kiyoshi never trusted them. With his inmates turned against him and being exposed as a creep, our hero thinks leaving the school is the right move. However, he's saved by Chiyo. Our hero finds his resolve now that he has someone that believes in him. He refuses to sign the papers and becomes a new man. But wait, something's wrong. The incongruity theory suggests that we find humor when things don't turn out as they should. We find something funny when there's a gap between reality and our expectations. When our expectations are changed in some way, we find it funny. This theory is sort of an umbrella term capturing incongruity. In a prison school, Chiyo explains that Kiyoshi is a kind man who saved baby crows. She tells her sister that anyone who would do that has to be a good person. Due to this scene, the audience is left with the impression that our hero may be a good person, or at the very least, he has found the strength to carry on. However, when we look into his mind, all he thinks about is our expectations have been flipped since Kiyoshi is not overjoyed about his new chance of redemption, but another shot at a girl. We find it funny since we notice these details. Speaking about details, they're vital to any story or comedy special. Comedians often rely on a knowledgeable audience to get the most out of their jokes by referencing earlier jokes. This can be done to deliver a punchline or even set up a new joke. This is called a callback. A callback is an inside joke that refers to a previous moment, not to be confused with a running gag. This is more akin to the principal constantly trying to get rid of his adult pictures, only to get caught by his daughter repeatedly. In reality, the differences between a callback and a running gag are gray, and offer the same pros and cons. If you mention the joke too much, it can lose its power and kill it. Misuse can also lead to lazy jokes, where one thinks simply mentioning the running gag is funny. In other words, they rely too heavily on the initial joke, and stop telling new jokes to support the running gag. Alternatively, the callback can help the audience feel engaged, since they are in on it, and can help connect parts of the story. As in the case of Prison School, it tries to find a balance between the callback and the running gag. We see in episode 2, Hana accidentally hums on Kiyoshi. This leads to Hana trying to get Kiyoshi to do the same to her. When the two characters are alone, the moment in episode 2 is called on. And when she forgets her memories, Prison School does a switcheroo on a new moment to call in. Prison School constantly raises the stakes and plays with the previous jokes, like the jokes about our hero's rear. This can also be seen with the chairman of the school. In episode 10, our hero blackmails the school's chairman into hearing out the boys before they're expelled. Kiyoshi uses the principal's running gag as his way to win. Prison School connects the running gags and callbacks to play into bigger, funnier scenes later. Now that the boys have the chairman to hear him out, they must convince him they're good people. And in the chairman's world, men that can't be all bad. So our hero, who doesn't fit the chairman's criteria, must convince himself and the chairman to think he's the real deal. This scene is funny due to its use of dramatic irony and playing up the question to an absurd level. We know something the chairman doesn't know, and Kiyoshi malfunctions when explaining his answer. This is supposed to be a serious moment to get the boys another day to prove they're mostly innocent, but incongruity is added to make the scene comedic. Ultimately, the boys use their extra day off to pull off their final plan. With careful planning and wacky hijinks, our ragtag crew of delinquents reach their freedom. Using these techniques doesn't necessarily mean you'll find everything they generate funny. That's up to you. Well, unless hypothetical Jake is making the joke. You can laugh at someone slipping on a banana peel, the way someone says a word, or even someone falling while walking up the stairs. With the combination of these techniques and theories, Prison School teaches us that a good story and consistent laughter will get us closer to our freedom.